What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the betting show here on Sherdog.com. My name is Sean Sheehan, coming to you from the home of the All-Ireland Hurling Champions, Limerick, as we talk about a massive weekend in the world of mixed martial arts. We have a very good Bellator card, a very good Cage Warriors card, and a very good UFC card as well, coming at you from London, as is the Cage Warriors card as well. And Bellator, where's Bellator going on? That's going on in Tacoma, Washington, wherever that is. So fair play to all of them. It's another banging weekend in the world of mixed martial arts. We've seen Bellator over the last while only put on like one event a month, which is actually great. I think it's benefiting them a lot, but it makes these bumper weekends, I suppose, maybe more common. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the weekend. It's going to be a mad weekend as always, but let's get into it. Let's talk about it and let's get to the bets. Please bet responsibly. As I said, if you watched the last 2 or 3 betting shows, you would better off you did bet responsibly, because we did so badly, especially last week. I think last week was the first time, I think it was only the second time in the year that I've got all 5 wrong, but maybe it's more, but all 5 wrong last week. It was a terrible week, but it's been going so bad for the last 3 weeks that it can only get better. So unless I get all 5 wrong here again this week, which you never know, it'll get better. It'll get better. So we've a better week coming this week, and there are some fun fights, and we pick out some as well. There are the world of fights and the world of bets to look at this week, so we could have picked out 10 bets, but we've gone with the 5, and I look again at the end, see if there's anything that tickles my fancy here. Right, so the first bet I'm going for is in Bellator, and I'm going for Tofiq Musayev to win his fight against Sidney Outlaw. He's at -175, and do you know what? He's actually, let me change up before we start. He's actually gone down to -160. Pulled up these prices last night, just looking at here. -160 he is now, so that's even better. I really like that price, and I really like Musayev as a fighter. He's a guy who, this is his Bellator debut, if I'm not mistaken, but he's fought a lot over in Risen. He's fought against Patricky Pitbull over there, and he's fought some really, really good guys. Went back and watched a couple of his fights. He was supposed to fight a few months ago, I suppose, at this stage, and I watched a lot of his fights and was very, very impressed by him back then. Went back, watched him again here for this fight, and I'm even more impressed. He's light on his feet. He switches stances very well. He hits hard. He's very good at wrestling, and he uses that switch hitting ability and the switch stance ability to get his wrestling into play as well. He attacks the front leg. He's strong. I like. There's a lot to like about Musayev. Now, I think Sidney Outlaw is the type of guy who has been caught before by guys like Musayev, I think, and he's a very good fighter in his own right. But I think that what he does is not too dissimilar on the feet to what Musayev does. But I think Musayev just does it so much better. I'm really impressed by him. And I can't wait to see him fight in Bellator. I know a lot of people have been tweeting about him this week and saying, I can't wait till this guy, gets on the scene in Bellator and goes through a few guys. And do you know what? I really do think he will. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this guy became the champion in Bellator. I think he's that good. Obviously, he's a win over the champion, so that maybe isn't the biggest call in the world there for me. But you get what I mean. It's very rare you see a guy in his first or second fight in a promotion. We're talking about him in this way, but I think he deserves to be talked about in this way. As I said, I'll say it again, and my reason for picking him here is just I think he's a better all-around fighter, but I think he's also better in the areas that Sidney Outlaw is good on, whether it's, I think he'd be able to take him down, honestly, and I do think he's a better striker than him as well. Now, that remains to be seen. Sidney Outlaw is a good fighter, and he can hit hard, and he can do it all as well. But yeah, I'm going for Musayev, first bet of the week, to win here at Bellator. I'm going to go kind of back and forward here on some of them. I have another Bellator bet, but I'm going to move to the UFC first. I just realised I had a Cage Warriors bet, but I changed it for my second Bellator bet, so maybe we get an extra Cage Warriors bet at the end of this, because there's definitely a few guys in that. But my second bet for this weekend, I'm going for Curtis Blaydes to win in the main event of UFC London. Now the Liverpool fans or the UK fans are probably killing me now for going for this one, but he's +110. Aspinall is -130. Honestly, I like Blaydes in this fight. Look, we know what Aspinall needs to do. He needs to keep it on the feet and he needs to knock him out. Blaydes' striking, I think, has improved a little bit over the last while. Also, look, you could see I know a few people have said Blaydes is a blue belt and Aspinall is a black belt. Maybe it's been a submission in heavyweight MMA. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. But I think if the fight does go to the ground, I think Blaydes will dominate there. But if it does stay on the feet, I wouldn't say Aspinall will dominate on the feet, but I think he will win on the feet. If this fight goes 2-3 rounds on the feet, I think Aspinall will probably end up knocking him out. Although Blaydes can hit hard as well and he's getting better. Blaydes' issue over the last few years, we've seen it loads of times, has been the transition between striking and the takedown. And let me just apologise here if you're watching the video. It's the hottest day of the year in Ireland. I'm just sweating buckets here. There's nothing I can do. I just be lighting run there like, nah. I'm like Nosferatu or something inside there. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, Blaydes' issue has been the transition between standing and taking someone down and the ability to kind of adjust between that and not make it obvious. So we saw against Derek Lewis, everyone and their dog at home watching could see he was going for the takedown. Derek Lewis threw the big uppercut and the fight was over. You know, he landed that big uppercut and that was that. That's what Tom Aspinall's going to need to do here as well. But surely Blaydes, like I think Blaydes, if I was him and I was watching, I was looking at the ability that I have and thinking like, should I be going for like blast doubles in the middle of the cage like that where I can get hit? Or should I push lads against the cage, try to pull them down and take them down like that? I think maybe. Yeah, like blast doubles are great and it's a dying art, honestly, as we all know. And we want to see more of it, but unless you can time it very well, unless it's, you someone's trying to kick and then you double leg them like that or something, I think it's very risky, especially for a guy like Blaydes who we know it's going to be coming from him. So I think maybe push Aspinall against the cage, pull him down there, even if you can turn him off the cage or something and land a few shots. I think that's maybe the way to go for Blaydes, or if not, just be very careful on the feet, act, even like if I wouldn't be too worried, right? Let's say you bet Blaydes to win by decision or whatever. I wouldn't be too worried if he loses the first round, maybe even half of the second round or something like that, to set Aspinall up, get him a little bit more tired, didn't go for the takedown. When he's like not expecting, this is a kickboxing match, he's not even trying to take me down, he can't take me down, didn't take him down. Now, is Blaydes smart enough to do that? I don't think he's the smartest fighter in the world, maybe not, but I think he's will be game planned well enough to have an idea of where to take Aspinall down to make it a little bit safer than in the past, and I think he'll do it. And I think once he does that a couple of times, I think Aspinall's going to find it very, very tough. I don't think he's going to be able to submit him. Now, I might be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. And I think Blaydes will win. So yeah, that's what I'm going for. And I'm going for the wrestling of Curtis Blaydes to beat Tom Aspinall. I think it's a little bit like I said. Look, I've been wrong for the last 3 or 4 fights in Aspinall, saying they're a little bit too soon. I'm saying it again, and you know what? I'll probably be wrong again, but that's what I think, and I'm not going to deny what I think. So there you go. I'm going for Curtis Blaydes to win that at plus 110. Right, the next one I'm going for Paul Craig, my guy, plus 142. Are we going to keep down Paul Craig, like? No. We can keep down him. He's fighting Volkan Oezdemir here, who is, a good fighter, a very, very good fighter. But he hasn't had the best run over the last fight. I think Paul Craig is maybe the most disrespected fighter in the UFC. Oezdemir is coming off a loss to Mukhamed Ankalaev, who Paul Craig beat. And he's coming off a loss to Yuri Prochazka as well. No shame in either loss, but you know what I mean. He's 2 losses in a row. And Paul Craig, who is on an unmerciful run, he's beaten Krylov, he's beaten Hill, he's beaten Shogun, he's beaten Ankalaev, he drew with Shogun before that, beat Vinicius Mayweather. Okay, he took a couple of losses before that, but he has a win over Ankalaev as well before that. Like, come on, how much more do you have to do, especially at light heavyweight division? It's not the best division in the world. And they're putting him in there. Okay, Oezdemir is a good fighter and he's probably ranked pretty highly and whatnot. But come on, he's coming off of 2 losses and they're putting him in there against Paul Craig. That's a bit unfair, I think. So, and we've seen before that Oezdemir has been submitted. Anthony Smith submitted him and he was submitted outside in Bellator, actually, a few fights in the first loss of his career. So he has 2 submission losses on his ledger. Now, having said all of this, Oezdemir is probably going to land a few big shots on the feet. He does tend to panic a little bit though if he does land a few shots and if he does get a guy hurt. And that's exactly what Paul Craig wants. So if he does panic a bit, goes for it. Even if Paul Craig is hurt, all Craig needs is one clasp on that arm underneath there, catch onto it, and that's it. You know, Craig is very good. Big dirty t-shirt. Craig is very good at that. He's so good at that. Look, this is a Craig submission all day long. It really is. I'm going for him just straight up because you never know in MMA. He could, you know, whatever. But I think Craig's striking has actually improved as well. So it's not the case of, he has to get hurt and has to get knocked down just so the lad will land on top of him so he can submit him. Not necessarily that at all. I think his ability to strike has improved, definitely. He also is a very smart guy in terms of, like, you know, I said about Blaydes needing to find different ways of getting the fight to the ground, and, like, you know, he's made the same mistake over and over. Craig, I think, he finds ways of getting to the ground because he usually does get hurt, to be fair, but I think he is better at pushing guys against the cage now. Like, he doesn't, and I haven't said that, like, I'm not comparing him with Blaydes. He doesn't have the wrestling game or the all-around game of Blaydes in that way, in the takedown, in the takedown realm of fighting. But I think he will, you know, clamp on an arm against the cage, pull guard and take guys down like that. And if your plan A is jiu-jitsu, which is never a great plan A, right, in modern MMA, but if it is, you have to go all out for it. You have to pull guard, you have to fall down, you have to take one punch and go, act like you're hurt, you know, like Verdum used to do back in the day, and then he triangle fade, or that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do if you are a bottom jiu-jitsu fighter, like Paul Craig is. And I think he'll be smart enough to do that. I think Oezdemir will fall into the trap, and I think he'll get submitted. So there you go. That's my bet there. Paul Craig. Right, I'm running through these very quickly as I'm 90 so long, but there's a lot to get to at the end anyway, so we will get to all of them at the end as well. I'm going for Lorenz Larkin here to win, and he's plus 105 in his Bellator fight this weekend. Looking at this fight, he's fighting Mukhamed Berkhamov, who has a great record, a really, 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 really good record. I think he's 15-1 or something like that. I went back and I watched a couple of his fights, and this is his second Bellator fight. He beat Jaleel Willis in his first. He guillotine choked him in the first round. Lorenz Larkin back down at 170 as well here after being at 185 last time out. Watching Berkhamov's fights, I just think his striking is not great at all. Now, I watched 2 or 3 wrong fights, and maybe he's improved, or maybe I just, you know, picked out the wrong ones. That could be right. That could be right. But from what I watched of him, I just think someone like Lorenz Larkin, who's a very good striker, who can hit hard, who's a technically good striker as well, is just going to eat someone like Berkhamov alive. And, like, is Lorenz Larkin good enough to stop the takedown? I think he is. Now, Berkhamov is a very, very good wrestler and very good takedown artist. So maybe he will take him down. You know, maybe he will. But I think Lorenz Larkin is good enough to stop the takedown most of the time. I think he's good enough to survive if it does get to the ground. And I think on the feet, over 3 rounds especially, I think Lorenz Larkin's going to have enough for him here. I could be wrong. I'll say it again. I could be wrong. I've been on a terrible run of calling fights, if we're being honest. But look, just looking at this one, looking at a fighter A versus fighter B, and when fighter A, it has, you know, a lot of fights against guys, you know, who are very good wrestlers. Look at, he beat Koreshkov, you know, back in the day, he's beaten Neil Magny, he's beaten John Howard, Ponzinibbio, Camozzi, you know, he's beaten Robbie Lawler. He was not a wrestler, but you know what I mean. And okay, he's lost to some guys as well, like Derek Brunson and others, but a lot of his last couple of wins, Douglas Lima, Paul Daly, like, he's beaten guys who are better strikers than him, arguably, although he's winning the Daly fight, but you know what I mean. You know, he lost to Tumanov back in the day, who's very good, well-rounded, you know, striker and wrestler. Same with Brunson. I think size in that one played a big part, but I just think he'll have a little bit too much on the feet for Berkhamov here, and if Berkhamov can take him down, I just think it's going to go to, he might knock him out, but I think it's probably just destined to, like, go to a decision where Berkhamov keeps trying to take him down and just can't, and Lorenz Larkin's having his way with him on the feet. But I suppose we shall see. We shall see it this weekend. Right, those are my 4 bets. And my flyer of the week, I'm going for the submission again, lads. I'm going for Jack Hermansson to submit Chris Curtis at plus 450. Now, look, Jack Hermansson, we know how good he is. He's really good at getting fast submission wins as well. Back in the day, he looked Kelvin Gastelum in a round. He guillotined David Branch and Gerald Mershart within a round. He ground and pounded Talis Lettuce, but he's a great jiu-jitsu artist and everything like that. I just think what Jack Hermansson is a fantastic starter when he starts fantastically, if you want to put it that way. He can go in there and he'll put you on your back very quickly, and he usually does that, and I think he will do that here against Chris Curtis. Now, Chris Curtis is very good, and if Jack Hermansson can finish him in the first round, I think Chris Curtis will go on and maybe get a third round stoppage or something like that. But having said that, this is short notice. This is a guy who in Hermansson is a really fast starter, but a fast fighter in general. And I think in this middleweight division, Chris Curtis has won a lot of fights because there are a lot of minus athletes in that division, I would say. Whereas Chris Curtis is a good athlete, and I think Jack Hermansson is a fantastic athlete altogether. And I think if Chris Curtis doesn't have that advantage over these other guys, and he's tougher and more experienced as well than most of these guys, I think that could be an X factor for Jack Hermansson early. Now, that experience and the toughness, I think, will play late. Hermansson also, he is a one-round fighter, and that might sound a bit unfair, and it is unfair, but he fights so well. He fights his best fight when it's the first round, when he's gone out there and he's given it all, and if you're his coach, you would say, go for it in round one. Just give it your all in round one and try to win it there, because if it goes to second or third round, you don't have as good of a chance of winning it there. You are at your best when you're confident and going and trying to finish it early. And that's the reason I think he will go out, he'll get a big takedown early, and he will go and try to, take the back or whatever it might be and get Chris Curtis. And I think, honestly, I think that's the way it will go. And I like that price, plus 450. It's not the biggest flyer bet of the week, but it's one that could happen. You see the 3 losses for Chris Curtis over in PFL there, his last 3 losses, there were 2 of them to Magomed Sharapov and one to Ray Cooper, and wrestling and Magomed Sharapov go together. Can he be taken down? Yes, I think he can be taken down. I don't think he's ever been submitted, but Jack Hermansson is a very good submission artist, very good jiu-jitsu, and if there's one man who can do it, I think it's probably him. So plus 450 to get the submission, Jack Hermansson. Right, let's run through some of the bets for the weekend. There is an Invicta card as well. It'll probably have already happened by the time this comes out. I'm just recording it beforehand, so yeah, we'll see how that went. So Bellator, we'll start off with. There's only straight up betting up so far in the betting here. Maybe it'll change as we go towards the week. But we have Outlaw and Musayev. I mentioned Musayev in one of my bets, minus 160, plus 130 for Outlaw. Honestly, I think that's a great price. And the reason I gave it, I didn't say it at the time, but I think that should be minus 260, maybe minus 300. If I'm not lying, I think he is that much of a better fighter than Sidney Outlaw. I do like Sidney Outlaw without a shadow of a doubt. I think he's a very good fighter, but I think Musayev is miles better, and I think he'll win that fight. Larkin plus 120 now. So Larkin's actually moved into to plus 120. He was plus 105 when I looked at it last night, so we can maybe adjust that as well. Plus 120 for Larkin now over Berkhamov, minus 150. Really good matchup of prospects coming through. Dalton Rasta, minus 240, plus 110 against Romero Cotton. Not sure, honestly. I'm not sure on that one. We will see. That's one of those ones that I think you look at and then you bet in their next fight maybe. Although if you bet in their next fight, it might be too late. But yeah, I think that's a very, very good fight. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Bobby King is the underdog against Rob Zabov. Douglas Lima and Jason Jackson. Jackson is the favourite. Okay, Jackson's the favourite, minus 180. I talked about that over on the Severe MMA podcast this week and was wondering who would be the favourite there. So it is Jackson, minus 180, plus 150 for Lima. I think that's exactly the right line. I think that is exactly the right line. And it's a fight you avoid though. That's not a fight you bet on. No way, because you never know what's going to happen with Douglas Lima. Never. Now, I would favour Jackson, as I mentioned. I think he's rightly the favourite there. You never know what's going to happen though. Usman or Magomedov minus 550 plus 400 Chris Gonzalez. This is one of the ones I was looking at for my flyer of the week. I don't think Chris Gonzalez is out of this fight in any way, shape or form. I think he could win this fight. Now, do I think Usman will win it? I do. I think Usman will win it, but I think plus 400 is crazy. I think that's wrong. I think that line is too much. I think maybe plus 200, maybe plus 250. And maybe minus 300 for Usman, sorry, here. I think I called him Umar and something else there earlier, but it's Usman or Magomedov. Devion Franklin then, minus 240. It's not a bad price there. I thought he'd be bigger against Marcelo Golm. Jalen Bates minus 600. That's about right against Marco. It's a very good prospect, Bates. And then Inguez plus 500. Fernando minus 700. We all know the flying knee of Fernando there. Cage Warriors then. A really, really great card for Cage Warriors this weekend. The main event is George Hardwick, who's minus 200 against Kyle Driscoll, plus 160. So Kyle Driscoll is one of the best guys in America in the Cage Warriors, San Diego series, I suppose, that they're doing there. And then George Hardwick is one of the best fighters in the UK, and they're coming together to fight here in the 20th anniversary Cage Warriors show. Preview show with Brad Wharton will be out around the same time as this, maybe a little bit before it. So check that out, please. I like Hardwick there at minus 200. I think that line is right, but it should be a good fight. Daniel Skabinski then, who I was really impressed with watching him for his previous fight against, was Justin Burlinson, wasn't it? He's fighting judo Jimmy Wallhead, who, he's plus 205. This guy fought in the UFC. He's fought at a high level, and he's a very, very good fighter. So if you fancy that line, I wouldn't put you off it. I wouldn't put you off it, to be honest. Darren Stewart and Mick Stanton minus 350 plus 275. I think that's about right. Dylan Hazan in for the flyweight title minus 155 for him. Sam Creasy, the champion, plus 125, but he's a champion who lost his last fight, but his opponent missed weight, and it's just himself and Luke Shanks had the weirdest kind of, was it trilogy or two fights? I don't know. It was mad anyway. All the fights dipped two boys' heads. So I think that's about right. Hazan is a really good up and comer coming out of Italy, so looking forward to seeing that. If he can get him down and wrestle him, I think he'll win that. Adnan Singer minus 180. Sam Spencer plus plus 150. I maybe go for Spencer there. I think Spencer will win that one. Then Nathan Fletcher as well as a big favourite. He's at minus 550 over Arik. Jesse Holland. This guy is minus 350 against Malers Flaminas. And this is a banger of a fight. An absolute banger of a fight. That's how good Jesse Holland is against Flaminas, who's a very good prospect killer. Wonderful fight. Jesse Holland is brilliant though. And I think that's just about right, even though I have a lot of respect for Flaminas. But yeah, Kingsley Crawford in minus 400, Reese McEwen plus 300. This is a line that stood out to me, this next one. Agi Sardari, the former champion, who I predicted would go to UFC and have a good career there, lost to John McColgan for the title last time out. He's fighting Mike Figlak, who I believe is 7-0, a really good up-and-comer. And Sardari, the former champion, is plus 200 here over Figlak, who's minus 260. I don't know. I really like Mike Figlak. I think he is championship material, but I don't know, is this a little bit too soon? I think Agi Sardari is a brilliant fighter. Now, Joe McColgan showed, I suppose, some of his limitations with his boxing, and Figlak is going to want to box him, but can he stop the takedown of Sardari as well? I think it's interesting. I probably just about pick Figlak to win that fight, just about. But that plus 200 line, I think, is mad. I think this is a pick-em fight, and I think plus 200 is very big. I wouldn't touch that minus 260 anyway with a barge ball, not a hope. Will Curry then, one of the best athletes in Cage Warriors. He's fighting Naglis. He's minus 330 plus 255. Jeremy Peatley was almost my bet here. Jeremy Peatley was the bet I had in and I took out. He's plus 165 over Steve Abiel, minus 205. Watching tape on Jeremy Peatley, I'm very impressed with him. I just like his style. He's the type of fighter I like. I think he'll win that plus 160. Luke Riley then fighting out of Paddy Pim this gym, minus 550 over Simon Kevin, two first names. Should not be Kevin Simone, maybe backwards. Anyway, Then Samuel Bark comes in short notice. There's Flier against Tobias Rilla, one of the best prospects in the world of MMA. He lost a couple of fights ago to William Gomis, who's another massive prospect, but he's coming back here, and I think he'll win this at minus 365. Then Lanier Kavanagh, who's a very good prospect as well, great knockout in his last fight. He's minus 360. Anders Sanchez plus 285. And then Emil Brown, who I like as well, big fan of his, minus 200 plus 160 for his opponent, Anders Lindgren. Right. Let's talk next about the UFC and obviously UFC London. The main event, and we'll go from bottom to the top. Nicholas Dalby, he is a favourite here over Claudio Silva, minus 242 plus 207 for Silva. Mandy Bohm then also is a favourite, just about pick him there, minus 123 plus 103 for Victoria Leonardo. A little bit surprised Jai Herbert is such a big favourite. He's minus 260 over plus 240. Kyle Nelson interviewed Jai during the week. If you haven't checked it out on Sherdog.com, please do. Now, I do think Jai will win this, but I also think Kyle Nelson's a good fighter. You know, Jai even said that himself on the interview, so that's not me speaking out of turn or anything there. I think that should be a little bit closer, but I do think Jai at minus 150 would probably be the right one. So fancy Nelson bet there, plus 240. You can get him in some places. You know, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, but I do think Jai will bang him out of there. I think he'll be too good early. Ludovic Klein in Mason Jones. Mason Jones big favourite, minus 345 to 8-5 in the plus direction for Klein, and I think that's about right as well. Mukhamed Mukhamed, as always, is going to be a massive favourite, minus 460 against Charles Johnson, plus 360. Amir Khani is the underdog, plus 180, but he's always the underdog. Jonathan Pierce, minus 210. Love this fight between Charles Rosa and Nathaniel Wood. Look, Nathaniel Wood's probably going to win it. He's minus 600 plus 450 for Rosa, but that's going to be a banger of a fight. An absolute banger. Those two guys only know how to have fun fights. Mark Casey is a big favourite, minus 355. What Mark Casey is going to show up. I really like Mark. I think he's a very good fighter, but Damir Hadovic is not a bad fighter as well, plus 290. If the Casey that fought against Slava Claus shows up here, he'll win, but he doesn't always. Then Monty McCann, minus 410 against Hannah Goldie, plus 310. I think that's a bit wide, honestly. I would probably pick Molly again. There's a lot of these fights. It's a bit wild. I think Molly, because of all like the hype and stuff she's been getting with Paddy, I think them people might be going a little bit overboard on her. So she's still, like, Molly to me is still an up-and-comer kind of. She's still learning. And she'd probably tell you that herself. Like, she's still someone who is, you know, becoming a great fighter, or becoming a very good fighter. And I think maybe in 2 years' time, Molly will be at her apex. I don't think she's there yet now. And look, will she beat Hannah Goldie? I think she probably will, but I don't know. It's minus 410, a line on Molly that I would be taking there. It definitely isn't. Paul Craig then, plus 142 against Oezdemir, minus 160. Gustafsson is back here. Alexander Gustafsson, he's the underdog against Nikita Krylov, a thing which would have been mad only a few years ago. He's plus 155, minus 180 for Krylov. Look, if you're betting on Gustafsson, you're betting on the old Gustafsson. And I probably would still do it. Feck it. Yeah, we'll go for it. Then Hermansson is it's just a pick 'em. Minus 110 for both guys almost here. Paddy Pimblett, Jordan Levitt, plus 220 for Levitt, minus 260 for Paddy Pimblett. If you're asking me to bet one of them at that price, I would 100% bet Levitt there. One thing people forget, right? If you look at Paddy Pimblett and you look at, okay, he's not the best striker in the world, he's going to get banged out by someone one of these days. Paddy Pimblett's losses have been to guys who are just like strong wrestlers in Sornbach and Nad Naramani. Jordan Levitt's a strong wrestler. You know, if you want 2 and 2 to make 4, let's go for it. But I would just about pick Paddy in that one. But at that price, 100% level. You can't. I don't think betting Paddy at minus 260 in that fight is a good one at all to go. But and in the main event, Blaydes and Aspinall just straight up minus 110, minus 108 ish for Blaydes, and in the minus 130, minus 135 here in some places. I see for Tom Aspinall, interesting price. You know, basically pick him fine. I think that's just about right. So, right, we will leave it there. Everyone, thank you for watching as always. If you want to leave your bets down below, I will reply. I'm always in the comments having a look. Let me know your bet and I will tell you what I think of it. click the subscribe button if you're not already. If you're on Spotify or wherever you are, click the subscribe button as well. Give us 5-star rating and all of that here. If you want to leave a super chat as well, I think you can do that on YouTube. So throw an old $5 over there in our direction and be very, very good. So yeah, we will leave it there. My name is Sean Sheehan for Sherdog.com. Before I go, actually, here are my 5 bets. I almost forgot to review them. Musayev minus 160 over in Bellator. 2 bets from UFC London, plus 110 for Curtis Blaydes, and then plus 142 for Paul Craig. Lorenz, Larkin, then what did I say? He was into plus 120 or something like that. I'm down here plus 105. So, but Lorenz, Larkin anyway. I'm sure you'll see it here up on the screen. And then my flyer of the week is Jack Hermansson to win by submission at plus 450. All right, that's all from me. We'll see you all next time.